everyone, today's video is about when you almost get paralyzed. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let's get going. The air smelled of antiseptic, sharp and cold, in stark contrast to the warmth of your hand entwined with Bakugo's. He was quiet, an oddity in itself. The rhythmic beeping of the machines were the only noise filling the room, a constant reminder of the precarious line that you had walked between safety and somewhere far worse. Your body ached. Every slight movement felt like a wave of fire spreading through your limbs. But you were grateful you could still move. That hadn't been guaranteed. Katsuki. Your voice was soft, almost a whisper, but he heard it. His red eyes flicked towards you, raw with an emotion that he rarely lets you see. Fear. The fierce, almost unbreakable Bakugo Katsuki looked like he had fought an entire army and barely made it out. His grip tightened around your hand, though you could feel the subtle tremble in his fingers. What the hell were you thinking? His voice was low, guttural, but there was no heat behind the words. You knew him well enough by now to understand that this was how he dealt with the heavy weight of fear, by masking it in frustration. Running into the fight like that, you could have... He couldn't even finish the sentence himself, the words choking in his throat as he dropped his head, the bleached strands of his hair falling in front of his eyes. His free hand was clenched so tightly on the side of your bed that his knuckles turned white. I had to, you whispered, your throat still dry and scratchy from the ordeal. There wasn't enough time to wait for help, Katsuki. I don't give a damn. He hissed, but his eyes softened when he met your gaze. You could have been paralyzed, or worse. Your chest tightened at the thought. Just hours ago, a rogue villain had launched an attack downtown, and you were caught in the chaos. You hadn't even thought twice when a family was trapped under debris, their desperate cries for help piercing through the sound of destruction. You dove in, using your quirk to push the heavy rubble aside, but that's when it happened. A second blast you didn't see coming. It had sent you flying, your back crashing against the broken metal beam. You remembered the pain, white hot and immediate. Then the terrifying numbness that followed as your legs refused to move. You had laid there, helpless, thinking for a moment that your future with Bakugo might truly be taken from you. It's not your fault, you said gently, knowing where his thoughts had gone. He blamed himself, he always did, especially when it came to you. You reached out with your free hand, wincing slightly as you touched his face, your thumb brushing over the stubble on his jaw. You weren't even there. How could you? That's the point, he interrupted, his voice low and rough. I wasn't there. I should have been. Maybe if I hadn't been on that other mission, you wouldn't have to risk yourself like this. You sighed, letting your fingers trace small, soothing patterns on his skin. Katsuki, you're not omnipresent. You can't be everywhere at once. His jaw clenched, and for a moment he didn't respond. Then he let out a shaky breath and leaned into your touch, his eyes closing briefly. Doesn't matter. I'm supposed to protect you. That's my job. A small, tired smile tugged at your lips. We protect each other, remember? I'm not some helpless damsel in distress. He snorted, but it was more out of frustration than amusement. His eyes, however, softened as they scanned your face, taking in every bruise and cut. You knew he was memorizing every injury, replaying the moment in his mind, blaming himself for not being there to prevent it. I thought I lost you, he admitted, his voice so quiet it nearly broke your heart. His vulnerability was so rare and so precious, and it was always moments like these that reminded you just how deeply he loved you. But he didn't. He whispered, squeezing his hand, "I'm here, and I'm perfectly fine." His grip tightened on you, and for a second he didn't move, just staring at you as if reassuring himself that you were, in fact, still here. "I can't lose you, okay? You're everything to me." He felt your throat tighten with emotion. Bakugo wasn't one for flowery confessions or grand gestures. His love was very fierce, protective, and unyielding. But at moments like these, he could see how much he was afraid of losing you. "I'm not going anywhere," you promised, pulling him closer despite the aching protest of your muscles. "Not today. Not ever." For a moment, there was only silence between you. His head lowered until his forehead rested against yours. His breath mixed with you. You could feel the weight of the day melting away, the tension in his body slowly easing as he held you close. "I'm still pissed at you," he muttered after a long pause, but his voice had softened considerably. "Reckless idiot." He let out a breathless laugh, the sound strained, but full of affection. "Wouldn't be the first time you called me that, though." His lips twitched, barely holding back a smile. "You drive me insane, you know that." "I know." You smile, your hand moving to rest on the back of his neck, fingers curling in his hair. "But you love me anyway." "Damn right I do," he growled, his voice low and full of that fiery intensity that you loved so much. "So stop scaring the hell out of me." "I'll try my best." You teased him, though the promise behind your words was genuine. He kissed you then, slow and deliberate, like he was trying to pour all the words he couldn't into one action. His lips were warm against yours, grounding you in the moment, reminding you that you were still here, with him, still breathing. And in that moment, with the weight of the day's events still pressing heavily on you, you knew without a doubt that no matter what came your way, you would always have him by your side, fierce, protective, and completely in love with you. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you like this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye.